All right, so this is the beginner Valentine macrame pattern, and this is what we'll be making today. We have this provided by Quartz, which is a company that creates different macrame patterns from beginning to advanced, and they also have great resources for supplies and materials, especially different custom colors like the pink that we'll use. So for the project today, we're going to need a dowel. This is a 12-inch dowel, and either size is fine. This is about half an inch, so we'll use the half-an-inch one. Scissors, glue, a little bit of masking tape, and of course we have the macrame cord. Okay, so usually the macrame cord, you want to get something that's a cotton or not really like a synthetic. You want to go for more of a natural material. And this one is a 4mm macrame cord. Okay, with this one we can unravel the cord, and this is going to provide the 3 separate strands that we're going to use to make our project. Okay, so I've cut all of these strands, and each of these you want to make about 48 inches long. Okay, can't really show it here, the whole thing, but you have a long piece of cord, and as you can see in the picture, we're going to start laying them out on this dowel, and we just want the strands to hang down and double up. Okay, so we're going to start off by just adding these cords all the way across. There's going to be 18 cords going across onto our dowel. Okay, so in order to set that up, this is the easiest way. You want to get some kind of box or piece of wood, anything you have. You can also use the edge of a table, and you want to put your dowel and tape it onto something so you have a little bit of a gap. So on this one, I'm gonna just wrap the masking tape around like so, and then just maybe leave about a 2 fingers width right here and tape it onto the side of this piece. A shoebox will work for this. Also, the other piece of tape. You guys can see this side. Just gonna wrap around this way. And I want to make sure this tape is right on the end there. Okay. And I'm just gonna tape that down. Oops, give it a little bit more space. Okay, so we have a little bit of a gap in between here to give us some space to put the rope through. Okay. All right, so let's clear some of this off. All right, so we could also put a little piece of tape on top of that just to really secure it. This is kind of just the setup for the weaving. Macrame is considered, or it's kind of seen, or it looks like a type of weaving, but really it's more like creating different kinds of knots. Okay, and so the guide that Ford and Quartz provides has samples of the knots, but I also have a couple of extra samples of the knot work that we'll do on these sheets because I think these ones are a little bit clearer in the instructions. Okay. All right, so once we have our dowel, we're just going to take a minute to separate these out. Okay. And I like to just pull gently on one end. It's going to start to kind of come in on itself, and just kind of slowly work to unravel the strand. Okay. So let's see, it's starting to kind of just twist up a little bit. Okay. Just pull it apart gently. I'm going to work from the bottom now, flipping it around, pulling these apart gently. Kind of want to kink back up, but it's okay. Separate. Get one strand out. All right, here we go. So now we have the 3. So it has kind of like a perm, and we now have 3 strands. Okay. So when you buy a bunch of macrame cord, it might look like it's not quite enough, like you're not going to have enough for the project, but just remember you're going to be dividing these into 3 separate strands. Okay. All right. So in order to start looping this onto here, this one's the first knot that we're going to do, which is basically called a lark's head knot. And so we just take the long strand that we pulled out, and we're going to place it under the dowel like this. Okay. And then we just pull from the bottom, we just pull the 2 strings and tighten it. Okay, just kind of tuck them together a little bit. It doesn't have to be super tight. And then just make sure the ends are even. So right here, they're a little bit uneven. So I'm just going to scooch one of the cords, pulling this side a little, just to adjust it to make it even at the end. Okay, which it's going to be hard to see because it's going to be further back, but as long as the ends are pretty even. Okay. It doesn't have to be 100% perfect by the millimeter because we're going to trim the edges anyway. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue with all of the strands and pause it just because it's going to take a minute for me to do. I'm going to continue and set this all up just to show you how to get it started. Okay. All right. This strand, like I said, is 4 millimeters. They also, give you the option of using a rope that's a little bit thinner. That kind of looks more rope-like. Let me see if I have a sample of it. Something like this. Okay, where it looks a little bit more rope-like, and the thickness is about the same as these. This is a little bit thinner. But if you don't want to worry about this step and unraveling everything, you could just buy a rope that's thinner and use that directly as the strand. That also works. So just that's an option in case you don't want to unravel everything. Okay, but I think this kind of looks nicer because it gives it a nice like soft textured look. Okay. All right, so I'm taking my next strand, and again, each strand is about 48 inches, and just dropping it through there. Okay, making like a little loop. Okay, and then pinching the string that's on the top through the loop, making sure it's even, and just tucking it up right next to this one. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do all of these and pause it. All right, so now we have 18 cords hanging down. Okay, so just to let you guys know, if you want to flip it over to the other side, then these loops won't be visible. So you can flip it either direction. It doesn't really make a difference. It's just visually what you want to see. So if you want these on the back, you can flip it. Okay, so we're going to take these and divide them up into 6 strands, 3 different sections of 6. So we have the first 3, 6. Okay. You guys can see it. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So we're going to take the first section, this section in the middle, sorry, and we're going to start making this heart first. Okay. So if you guys saw in the picture, there are 3 hearts. First picture. 3 hearts running across the top. So we're going to start making this first heart in the middle. Okay. All right. So in order to do that, we're going to start with one of the knots that's called the double half hitch knot. And so that's what this sheet is going to reference. I'll just put it right here, show you guys each step, okay? So in order to start this, we're gonna start with the middle of the heart. So it's like we're gonna be making the little V, okay? So what we wanna do is go in and grab the fourth chord. So it's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, this one. Oops. Okay. And if you guys don't want these cords to get frayed as you're working, so this one's already kind of starting to unravel, you can put a little bit of glue as you're working and just kind of let it dry there for a minute. So I didn't do that for these just because I just put these on, but all you would do is just get a little bit of glue, you know, a tiny little dot, and I just like to put it on the ends. Okay, so that's optional. The bottom is going to be trimmed, you know, to make it like a V, but if that helps to keep it unraveling, you can do that. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is make this first knot coming in, and so that's what this page describes. So you're going to have one strand that's coming down, okay, and that's what this yellow one is, and then the other strand is going to come across it, okay? So this is the strand that's coming down. This is the strand that's coming across it. So it's making like a little X, okay? Then what you want to do is flip it over, okay? And see how this kind of makes like a number 4 on here? So you have like a number 4 right there, okay? So the trick to this is that you want to make, if you see this number 4, right? This direction at the bottom, it's like this like rope direction is the direction that you're going to be working. And so if you want to make the loops going this way, okay, or going diagonally down this way, think of this bottom of the 4 as pointing in the direction that you're going, okay? So we're going to make the loops and they're going to be moving that way, okay? And so when we reverse the 4, it's going to go the other direction. All right, so I'm going to take this loop, okay? And just like this picture says here, I'm going to put this underneath and then out on the top, okay? So all that is I'm going to put under and out, okay? So if you really want to set it up to see it, it's going to look like that, okay? So that's one loop, and I'm just going to lightly bring that up to the top, okay? So this is making a little loop right there. And then I'm going to do one more. So it's going to be coming up, under, and out. And then I'm going to scooch this up. Okay. So now it's going to look like there's 2 knots there. Okay. So this was the first one. Okay. Tucked it up. This one was the second one. And it's the same thing. You're just going to go under and out. Okay. So that's this step. And then we're going to work and bring the next cord over and do the same thing, okay? So we're going to do this 3 times. So that's the first one, okay? This is the next cord. And I'm going to cross it over, okay? I'm going to make like the number 4, just like we did before, okay? And it's going to come under and out. So that's one loop, okay? 4 right here. And you don't have to set it up to make it look like a number 4 every single time. I'm just showing you guys so you can kind of get the idea, okay? So under and out. Okay, so that's 2. So we made 2, and now it's starting to work its way diagonally down, okay? So we're going to do this 3 times. All right, tucking it up. I'm going to get the next strand, okay? And again, these are separate strands. Don't put these 2 together, okay? Gonna cross, making like a number 4. Okay, and then under and out. That's the first one. So again, it's a double half hitch knot. So that means it's double. So that's the first one and second one. So you're always gonna do it like twice. That's the number 4, under and out. Okay. And you may wanna kind of wiggle these a little bit so it kind of looks like you can see the two knots that you just made. So it's going to be like lining up diagonally. This is what's going to make the outline of the heart. Okay. All right. So that's the 3 on this side. Okay. So then now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this side. So it's going to be the top of the heart and then going down that way. So now I'm going to go the other direction. Okay. So all it is I'm going to take this knot. Separate these a little bit. Okay. Actually, I'm going to take the one that we kind of left over here. Okay. So instead of making the number 4 pointing that way on the bottom, I'm going to be making the number 4 point this way. You see that? Okay. So now the bottom is going that way. So we're going to be moving in that direction. So it's going to go under and out. That's the first loop, tucking it right up. Second one, again, just number 4 again. Under and out. Now I'm going to move to the next row, or the next strand, sorry. This is going to be crossing, making the number 4. Okay. Under and out. Crossing and making the number 4. Under and out. Okay. So now we can start to see it's kind of like a diagonal line moving downwards. And then this one was moving this way. Okay. All right, I'm going to do one more. This is going to be the end of the first heart. So it's going to cross, making the number 4. Under and out. That's the first one. Okay, you kind of want to scooch it so it's right up next to the last knot that you made. Number 4. And then out. So now we have the top of one side of the heart. Okay. All right, just kind of wiggling him in place a little bit. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing with the other side. So I want the V to kind of come in this way. So what I'm going to do is go over to the 4th strand coming in this direction this time. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, this one. And I'm going to be going that way. So I'm going to do the same thing that I was just doing on the other side. 4 is pointing that way. And then out. And we do each loop twice. So it's a double half hitch knot. That's 1. Okay. And pick up the next cord over. Number 4. 1. And the last one is 2. Okay. So this is making this B. Okay, now I'm going to go this direction. Okay, make sure at the top here you're always crisscrossing them. Okay, before you make the number 4. Now I'm going to go back in the original direction, like the way a normal number 4 is. Under and out. That's the first loop. And second loop. This same cord, you want to keep it in the same direction. Don't flip them. Okay. All right, now this one's going crisscross at the top, making like a number 4. Under and out. 1. Under. That's the second one. Okay, so now that's going downwards this direction. And I'm still using the same cord here, crisscrossing at the top, making the number 4, right? Under and out. It's 1. 4, under and out. Okay. So now we have what looks like a ridge at the top. Okay. All right. So we would continue and do the same thing on these to make 3 hearts the same thing. So you want to continue doing that on this side. Okay. I have another one here that I started that I'm gonna like swap out. Okay. So you guys can kind of see where it's going. So this one is a little bit thicker. The fabric or the cord is thicker. So you can see it has the 1 heart, the 2, and then this is going to be the 3rd one in the middle. Okay. So I'm going to make these 2 and then show you this one, and then I'll continue on this one. Okay. So we have the 2 mounds here. So I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And I'm not going to do this side. So let me pause it while I do this section. Okay, so on this side, I just did the same thing. We went down 3, actually this is more like 2.5. And then they connect right here in the center to make the V, and then the 2 sides of the top of the heart. Okay, so it kind of looks like these little mountainous ridges here. Okay, so then now we're going to start making the heart, the bottom of the heart, make like a V like this. Okay, so we're going to take this strand, the end of our heart, we can just kind of scooch this over, and we're going to do the same thing and just work our way that way. So I'm going to start with the outside cord, crisscross it. Okay, again, the number 4 is going kind of, the bottom of the 4 is going that way, so that's the direction we're going in. That's 1, 2. Okay. Just kind of tuck it up there on the side. Okay, that one's going to go out. I'm going to bring the next one over. Okay, maybe number 4 right here. That's 1. I'm going to tuck it up next to this one. Okay, and you can see here that this strand, you kind of want to make sure it's the right length there so that when you make the heart, you start to see where the diagonal is going. So you don't want to crunch this up all the way. You kind of want to make sure this hangs down a little bit. Okay, so that's, what was that, 1? And then the second one. Okay, and this cord, you can see it's going to be used all the way for it to go across. Okay, so I'm bringing the next one down. Again, this strand, we're kind of leaving it to make the side of the heart. This one's going to come down a little more. Okay, lining up to the end. Just crossing it over to make the 4. Under and out. That's the first part. And see how I'm leaving the length? Second loop. Okay. So it should kind of look like a tube that's outlining the heart as you go. Okay. Next strand over. Just crossing it. Okay, so these are just gradually getting a little longer. 1, 2. Okay. Next one. 4, it's going under and out. Okay, see if I pull too hard, this all gets scrunched up, right? So just make sure that you're still seeing the shape of the heart as you're working. Okay. Okay, first side, first loop, second loop of a half hitch knot. Okay, see we have the heart shape there. Okay, you could kind of wiggle them out a little bit if you need to adjust it, but it's easier to just make sure you have enough space right there as you're working. Okay, so now I'm going to go to the other side and move these aside a little bit. And now I'm going to be working in this direction. Okay, so I'm going to take my end, going to crisscross, The number 4 is going that way now. So that's 1. 2, under and out. Okay. Then we take the next strand. Again, just making sure it's not going to be too scrunched. Crisscrossing it to make the number 4. Under and out. Maybe a little bit of space right there. Okay. And the second loop. So it kind of matches on this side. This loop, this side of the heart with this side of the heart. Okay. Make sure you're actually getting the next chord because sometimes these get mixed up. So just make sure you're going right over to the next one. Okay, crisscross it at the top. Make your number 4, right? Going that way. First loop. Second loop. Okay. Just going to keep going, making sure that these are symmetrical on both sides. One, 2. So I'm working a little bit quickly on these loops. So, take your time on these if you need to. It's totally fine. This one, crisscross at the top. Make the number 4, right? Under and out. So it's just the same knot work we've been doing the whole time. So in the beginning, we just looped it at the top with the lark's head knot, and we're still just doing the double half hitch knot to do everything so far. Okay. So after doing it enough times, probably you'll be able to memorize how to do it, and you might get a sense of how you want to, set it up with your hands. Okay. The very bottom, I'm just connecting the last 2 together, and it doesn't really matter which way you go with this one. It can go either way. So I'm just going to continue what I was doing. Number 4 going that way. Same thing. So to close it, it's just going to kind of make a little point at the bottom. Okay, so you just kind of want to make sure you can see your heart. Okay, up close, it doesn't really actually look as much like a heart, but from far away, it will look a little bit more clear. Okay, so that's that one. So I'm going to pause it again and just do the same thing on this side. Okay, so I did the bottom of this heart. Okay, probably adjust this a little better, but there's the bottom. Okay, so now what we're going to do is there's 2 hearts that go here in the center. Okay, and so in order to make these hearts, we're going to make a little V right here. So that's where they're going to start. Okay, so I'm going to separate this out. So this section and this section, and I'm going to go to the 3rd strand, and I'm going to be working this direction to the right, my right. And so we're going to cross it. Number 4 is going to go that way. Oops, I'm going to copy. Number 4 is going to go that way. Okay. And then number 4, crisscross at the top. Number 4 is going that direction. Okay. So that's the first loop. Okay. At the top, you might want to, roll it just to make sure the loop is visible. Just so you can kind of see how it's going. See if I can zoom in here a little better. There we go. Okay. And then this is the second loop. So as I pull it up, you kind of want the 2 loops to be noticeable. So you might need to pull the cord a little bit so that it's visible. Okay, I'm going to go over, grab the next cord, and I do want this to come diagonally. So I'm going to crisscross it under and out. That's the first loop. See how I kind of like rolled it so this loop showed. And this is the second one. That kind of like tucked it up. So it should look like 4 little loops, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So this one's just going to be like, kind of like 2, and then we'll connect it to the other side over here. And I do want to make sure that this is angling down. So it's going this direction. So these two should be a little long, getting longer. Okay, I'm going to start with the other side now. Third one in from the heart. And I'm going to crisscross it at the top. This time the number 4 is going that way, since we're going diagonally to the left. So that's 1. Come on, Luke. Okay. Hold on. Let's do this right. It's misbehaving. Crisscross it on the bottom. Loop at the top. Okay. Yeah, that's right. I don't know why that wasn't looking right. 2. That's the second loop. Okay, next strand. This is your working strand, so always it's going to be one main one that the other cords kind of loop around. Okay. This is the number 4 right here. Again, just to make sure we're doing the same thing. Number 4, it's crisscross at the top, under and out. It's the first one. Second one. And then so here, we did 2 on this side, 2 on this side. So now this like third one is combining them both. Okay. So it doesn't matter which direction you go in. 1, 2. That'll just make it a nice little point at the bottom. Okay. So now we have this V. Okay. So it looks a little confusing, but right here, what we want to do is make the top of this heart. So we don't want it to blend into the other one. We wanted to make it look like a separate heart. So we're just going to make a row going this way. So all I'm going to do is separate this. You can see it. Okay. So this is the top of this strand, right? So I'm going to actually get this piece that's left from the first section that we did, this angle, and I'm going to crisscross it. And then I'm going to go that direction. So the number 4 is kind of pointing that way, the bottom of it. That's 1. Tuck it up right next to the top. 2. So you'll see what I mean. We'll make the top of the heart. Just cross it, the top, under and out. One more time. This one, just cross it, number 4, under and out. It's the same loop over and over and over again until your muscles memorize it. All right. So there. So now we have this arc of the top part. And now I'm going to go on this side, just kind of sweeping this all over. I still want to get the strand from this one. This is going to be the working cord. And crisscross it at the top. Now I'm going the other direction. So the number 4 is going to be facing to the right or pointing to the right. Under and out. See, you can kind of see the loop pop up. Under and out. And that one's done. So that's 2 loops. Okay, next strand. Number 4. Under and out. No, you don't have to talk to yourself while you're doing this, but sometimes it helps just to make sure you're actually doing each step. Okay. Just cross it over, under, and out. First loop, second loop. All right. So now we have this heart. Okay. Now, this one we don't need to do anything because this goes on the other side, so it doesn't have a heart there. This heart is going to have a little bit of a different pattern in the middle, so it looks more flat, looks different from these hearts. And that's where this comes in, and this is basically a square knot, okay? And so this is a basic knot that's used in macrame very often, and it just gives you what looks like a little kind of square to fill in on the side there, okay? So what we're gonna do is take these strands right here. Hold on a second, let me show you the picture. Okay, the picture is a little bit small, but basically we're going to be making 2 knots at the center and then 1 knot. So basically it's making a filled in heart of 3 of these knots. Okay, so we're going to take these 4 in the middle. Okay, so we'll separate the heart out into 2 different sections. Okay, so there's that side and there's this side. So we're going to take these 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and all it is separating these out. So there's 2 connected here in the middle. Okay, and it's going to be 1 going across this way. Okay, the other one coming over it. So it's almost like a bigger number 4. And then this is going to go underneath both of these ropes, these cords, and out the other side. Okay, so then when we bring it all up, it joins here at the top. Okay, and we don't want to squish this all the way up. We kind of just want to set it like in the middle of this arc. Okay, now the other side, the other part of it is doing the same thing. Okay, we're going to go and make a big 4. This side goes over it. Okay, now the 4 is kind of going that way. So I can move the camera a little. It's better. And now I can lift this up to show you. Okay, then this strand that we placed over is now going to go under and out on this side. Okay, and just kind of as you're bringing it up, just making sure they don't all clump together. All right, so now this is making a little square knot right here. Okay, same thing on this side. I'm going to take the 4 on this side. Okay, 2 of them go in the middle. Okay, 1 goes over. 1 on the right goes over that one. And then this one tucks underneath both of these strands and comes out this loop. Okay, not pressing it all the way to the top, just kind of letting it sit lined up to the other one. Right there, so it just kind of gently connects, still leaving these arcs of the heart. Okay. Okay, now same thing, except I'm going to make the number 4 going the other way. Okay. And again, we're going to pull it. If you can think of it, you can even pinch your fingers in and under and grab this loop or this strand and pull it out. And, you know, one way of getting good at macrame is just getting a bunch of patterns for the basic knots and just practice doing them, you know, just on their own, so you can kind of get the hang of it. Okay, now these 2 are the square knots. So a little bit better, there we go. And then we're going to make 1 more square knot in the middle. So we're going to use the 2 from each square knot, okay, and make 1 more. So now we have the 4 cords. Okay, 2 stay in the center. And we're going to make that number 4 again. So 1 going across this way, 1 going over, okay? And again, you can think of going under this, pinching this, and bringing it outwards, okay, if that's easier. Or, so I'm tucking this up, not too tight. I kind of just wanted to set right below these 2. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing, cross it over. This one goes over. So you can think of it as going under and pinching it, or you can think of it as just taking this leg and kind of poking it out this loop. Whichever way you think about it, you get the same result. All right, now we have square knot, and we should have these 3 square knots, okay? So then what we're going to do is, so this is kind of filling in this heart. So now we're going to do a diagonal line on each side to make the V of the rest of this. So I'm getting the end of my heart, okay? Crisscrossing it. Going that way now. Okay, next one, I still want to keep the shape, so I'm just kind of looking and making sure my loops are lined up where I want them to be. I'll work a little bit faster just for the sake of the video, so it won't be super long. And again, this is the same thing we did up here. Crisscrossing it, now we're going the other way. That's 1, 2, okay. Next chord over. 1 and 2. Okay, still making sure I have that heart shape going. Next chord over. Okay, and oh, get one more. Okay, and then in the middle, it doesn't really matter how you want to join these. 1 and 2. Okay. So now we have the heart that is filled in. Okay. So that's these 3 on this side. Okay. So now what we would do, I'll bring the other one, but I'm just going to continue on this one. Okay. So now what we would do is we would do the same thing on this side. So I would have to make, see if I can zoom out here. I would have to make one more heart, right? The heart in the middle, and then the last heart would go in this section right here, okay? So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna pause it. So we'll do one heart, the middle heart, and then we'll do the last heart. I'll show you guys the last heart, okay? Okay, so for the last heart, once we did the square knots on these 2 hearts, we're gonna make the last and final heart right here in the middle. So I'm gonna split these 2 hearts up, 2 sections, taking the 3rd foil, crisscross the one next to it underneath, and then the 4 is going that way. This one stays in my hand. Next one over. Once and twice. So we have a diagonal line in here. Same thing on this one. 3rd one in. Just connect the two together. Doesn't matter which way. We have a little V. This side, we want to make another little V going down this way to make the top of the heart. So this cord is coming out of this one. This one stays in my hand. Stays in my hand.
I'll let you know in a minute, Brian.
So now we have a little diagonal bar on this side. I like this end. Last one on this side. Just crosses over. Next one over. One. Okay, so we have an M. Last one. One. And two. All right. So then all we have to do now is just make the bottom V of this heart. I'm gonna get this one. And just work my way that way. We have enough space in between so it doesn't mess up the heart and scrunch it up. Cord is going to guide us. It's going to stay going the same way. Okay. Sure the lengths are getting gradually longer just to make sure that it stays looking like a diagonal. From here, one. Just connect these two. Okay. So then after this step, then you can just decide how long you want yours to hang. So the longest strand is this one. So if you want to make it even going across, this is the length that you would cut across. Okay, you could also make it kind of curving upwards. or some other pattern. Okay, so I'm gonna take mine. Start cutting across the longest strand. The original pattern from Ford and Quartz uses longer strands, so if you want one, you guys can follow that. You don't want the edges to fray at all. You can put a little glue, just to keep them together. Okay, got a little short. Okay, and then you will just attach 2 strings on the top. Usually you can use your leftovers. Just tie them. And then you can hang it up. And that's the final macrame heart line. Okay, thank you very much.